As education professionals employed in Unit 5, we have the ability to bargain over our pay, benefits, and working conditions. We have access to a number of paid and unpaid leaves, and we can contribute to and withdraw from a sick leave bank. However, these benefits, among others, were not just handed to us, they were fought for by our union, the Unit 5 Education Association. As a member of UFEA, you may have found yourself asking, what has the union done for me? More than you probably ever imagined.
Lessons of the past were all learned with workers' blood. Mistakes of the bosses we must pay for. From the cities and the farmlands to trenches full of mud. War has always been the bosses' way, sir. The union forever defending our rights. Down with the black leather workers unite. With our brothers and our sisters in many far off lands. There is power in our union. Now I long for the morning that they realise brutality and unjust laws cannot defeat us. But who'll defend the workers who cannot organise? When the bosses send their lackeys out to cheat us. Money speaks for money, the devil for his own.
I'm Marva Stickinson. I was a German and French instructor at Chittix and Parkside and Normal Community High School. I started in Unit 5 in 1981, and I was president of the Unit 5 Education Association from 1991 to 1992. Well, when I was president of UFEA, I think the most important thing to always remember, the president was just a conduit for the membership, and some of the issues that were significant during that period of time, one was a Schedule B issue where there had not been equal pay for, at the time it was called boys and girls sports, so for men and women's sports, and I and my colleagues felt that was really wrong, and so we pushed for equal pay for men and women's sports. For example, I think the girls basketball coach received maybe like 2% of the base, whereas the boys basketball coach was receiving 12% of the base. Maybe not that extreme, but it was significant. And I guess as I look at what's going on now in the world with women's rights and women's issues, I think we were ahead of our time. I think that was fairly significant.
I was president in 94, 95, and that was when we had the structure of a president-elect, president, and past president. So I had been president-elect in 93, 94, president 94, 95, and past president 95, 96. We did a 3-year rotation. So if you like your health insurance, you can thank UFEA. Another big thing was personal days. There used to be no personal days. There was something called permission absence. So if I'm at Parkside and my principal likes me and I say that my granddaughter is having something at school and I need to go, he might say, sure, Camille, go. If you're at Evans and you say the same thing about your granddaughter and you need to go somewhere, if that principal and you weren't on the best relationship, he or she could say, no, you can't go. So permission absence was just that. I can either give you permission to go or not, as opposed to a set 2 personal days. We also bargained the sick leave bank while I was president. So many people have had catastrophic illnesses, and they have taken advantage of being able to use that donated sick day when they needed it to help their family. We also expanded the people in sick leave to include many of the people that are listed there today. That list was very short at one time. It was used to be like your immediate family, your husband, your children. It didn't include the laundry list of people that are in there now, including significant others or partners.
I'm Greta Armstrong. I started teaching in Unit 5 in 1967, right out of college. Taught English at Normal Community High School. I had a ton of kids, 3 different preparations, 5 different kinds of books. We didn't have standard anything at the time, not even standard curriculum. So we spent a lot of time just pulling that together. I was active in UFEA once we got into bargaining, especially. I was president of UFEA in 98, 99. Just some of the contract issues, sick leave, maternity leave, personal leave. And those all sound very selfish leaves, not that we don't want to leave, but standards for developing curriculum, standards for dealing with complaint issues. We've developed the procedures whereby parents can contact the district. We were part of that. We've just done so many different things to bring unity, I think. We had a great divide early on between elementary and secondary. There was no question about that. But I think as council has worked together through the years, despite the fact of the difference in the hours and the day structure, that all had to be worked out contractually too. Lots of changes have happened during that time.
Now the lessons of the past were all learned with workers' blood. Mistakes of the bosses we must pay for. From the cities and the farmlands to trenches full of mud. War has always been the bosses' way, sir. The union forever defending our rights. Down with the black leg, workers unite. With our brothers and our sisters in many far-off lands. There is power in our union. Now I long for the morning that they realise brutality and unjust laws cannot defeat us. But who'll defend the workers who cannot organise? And the bosses send their lackeys out to cheat us. Money speaks for money, the devil for his own. Who comes to speak for the skin and the bone? What a comfort to the widow, a light to the child. There is power in our union.
I'm John Butler. I was the UFEA president started in January 2008 through October of 2009. The biggest issue that happened while I was president was probably the difference of opinion with the board on the interpretation of our bargain language about health insurance contributions. So I was pretty new at the time, so leaned pretty heavily on Ben to help organize, but we went around to every school, talked about the issue, organized our members, gave them t-shirts to help present a unified front. I think having a union is incredibly important. For example, in the health insurance dispute that we had with the district, they had made the decision of how they were going to interpret the language that was written. Without the union there, first of all, there would have been no language. And the board could have done whatever it wanted to. People may have screamed and cried and been upset about it, but the reality is they could have done whatever they wanted. In this case, not only did we say no, we proved to them why it wasn't correct. We had the backing of the statewide organization who helped us with research help and legal help and helping us advocate for our members. With no union, that doesn't happen. It can happen. So the board gets to do what it wants, and that's why I got involved, was to help with my fellow members.
My name's Carl Gakey, and I'm currently the president of the Unit 5 Education Association. I have served as president since 2014, and prior to my presidency, I was a traveling Spanish teacher. Well, we've successfully settled 2 contracts in the time that I've been president, while the state had no budget. So the district was pretty concerned about settling contracts with no budget in place. It was really difficult to finish those contracts. We received very modest increases in salary during that time, but we haven't received increases in our salary over the last 4 years. I'm excited for bargaining this time because the state does have a budget for us. As part of a budget saving or money saving scheme at the very beginning of my presidency, the district decided that they were going to eliminate a principal from their employ and merge the principalship at Carlock and Towanda. I went to a board meeting and talked about how that was a really, really bad idea, and then a year later got to say "told you so," and they reinstituted having a principal at both Carlock and Towanda. One of the things that I'm most excited about as my presidency comes to a close is that I get to go back to the classroom. A lot of our presidents have either retired or moved on to different positions, but what I'm really, really excited about is to be back in the classroom teaching, and also excited that potentially the next president of UFEA or of a merged local could be a younger career teacher that is then also able to go back to the classroom. I'm excited that our organization is starting to focus on the presidency and leadership as being an early career and mid-career option, not just an end-of-career option, because that helps us build capacity within the organization of advocates and of strong union leaders, whether they are holding a position in the organization or in a supportive role in the classroom. The more people that we can cycle through leadership opportunities, the more people that we have in the buildings able to advocate for students and teachers.
In this role specifically, in the last 10 years or so, I think one of the things that we have tried to do is to just hold off a lot of the attacks that we've been facing. The last 6 or 7 years especially, unions have been under attack across the country and in Illinois. Everything from teacher pensions and public employee pay and benefits to attacks from our opponents who think we just shouldn't even be able to exist as a union. So unfortunately, instead of making significant gains the last number of years, we've been trying everything we can just to hold on to what we have, hoping that we can weather this storm and that the pendulum will swing back the other way and people will again see the value of being organized and of having collective bargaining.
The skin and the bone, what a comfort.